ahead and get started. We may have some additional folks popping in that are just registering, but we have a full schedule for this first session. So we want to make sure that we have enough time to go ahead and get through today. First off, I want to welcome you here to our statewide professional development conference. This is our first time since pre-COVID that we were able to bring all of our statewide advisors together since spring of 2020. So we are really excited for you to be here with us today. So you can give yourselves a big round of applause. My name is Anita Gonzalez. I'm the Deputy Director for New Mexico MESA. My slide will pop up here in a minute. But I just want to welcome you. Before we get started, there are some few minor housekeeping things that I want to make note of before we get into our session. One, if you missed the announcement, if you did do an advance request and you received a gluten-free or vegetarian slip, make sure to hand that to your server as they're coming by to go ahead and get that special, as it is a plated lunch today. Secondly, when you checked in, you should have received a stipend form. If you did not turn that in immediately when you checked in, if you can take the time to fill it out during the session and make sure to pop it in. So we make sure to collect that, that's really important. Thirdly, you know that in every session we are doing tracking and we are doing collecting. So meal tickets, we'll be collecting meal tickets at the door, sessions with your name badge. We have an electronic check-in, so make sure you check in at all the sessions you want to attend. We do have extra tickets, so if you didn't sign up for like a dinner, you want to join us tonight, you didn't sign up for something, that's okay. If you have extra tickets, just go ahead and please pick them up at the front desk for use. Also using this time, if you guys haven't had a chance to open up your packets, in your packets, the big full program. So there was not you didn't get a chance to pre-select your workshops. It's once we dismiss here, go to one that suits your liking. So if you did have a chance to peruse the program that was sent in advance, take some time, select a session. Just because of the number of attendees we have and the number of sessions that we have, we are limiting each session to 20. So once the room's full, we're just going to ask that you select another session to attend. All of our sessions are well attended. So if you take some time to look through your program, kind of pick out your day. And then again, just a reminder, every session, please make sure to check in, because that determines your participation stipend, and it also will ensure that you get like credit for attendance in your attendance transcript. So at the end of the conference, we would like to get each of you all an attendance, participation credit, so you guys can turn that into your school district or wherever you need, possibly for dossier or whatever else you need collecting for. So with that, there will be some other housekeeping here in a few minutes, but I want to go ahead and welcome up and introduce Ms. Link Heward. She is our Executive Director for New Mexico MESA.
Hi, welcome everybody. I'm so glad to see each and every one of you here. There are so many new faces and returning faces, and it kind of just makes my heart happy to have all the teachers together again in one room. Hopefully, we'll be able to continue doing this every single year moving forward, but we'll have to see. You have no pressure, right? Before we get started and talk about the state of Mesa, I want to do a quick land acknowledgement. Today we stand on the traditional homelands of the Pueblo Sandia, the original people of New Mexico, Pueblo, Navajo, and Apache. Since time immemorial, we have deep connections to the land and have made magnificent contributions to the broader community statewide. We honor the land itself and those who remain stewards of this land throughout the generations, and also acknowledge our committed relationship to the indigenous peoples. This is our history. So the state of Mesa. For us at New Mexico MESA, since pandemic restrictions lifted, it has always been about building community and fostering community, whether it's your learning community or the community of Mesa in a larger aspect. So I would like to give thanks to our amazing staff members. If you guys could just raise your hands, the original coordinators, Anita, you guys, please, wouldn't be amazing without you guys at home. as well as our wonderful board. We don't have any board members here right now. We'll have some of them this evening and we'll call them out. And for those of you who are joining us for dinner, we would love for you to interact, mingle, talk to them, give them pros and cons, tell them what you think Mesa needs in the future. They are our governing board, it's a nonprofit, and we work together to make that vision of community in Mesa go forward. And then each of you should really give a hand for yourselves. Thank you, you incredible teachers. You guys are the hands and feet of Mesa. You guys make it work. You guys are what is Mesa to us. So big round of applause for all of you. And then finally, we have in this room many of our STEM partners and collaborators, and they came out in droves when we said we were going to have a statewide event happening again. So thanks to them. If a few of you are here in the audience having lunch with us, raise your hands. We were so excited about those workshops this afternoon with you all. Thank you. So you will find in your program, you'll find on our website, we have created a Mesa model and how our program service delivery happens. You can find that this has been really helpful for us when we move forward as we get projected funding in place. You see where it all kind of interconnects and comes together. And then we have a theory of change. This needs some updating. We'll be working on this in the 2025 year with our board and staff, and we will also be reaching out to you as our partners, as teachers and collaborators, to update this theory of change and really come up with a new good strategic plan moving forward. So be on the lookout. Be ready to be harassed by me. And then I want to talk for a quick second about, this has been kind of the thing, I wish everybody could get a standing round of ovation for this one. When we came out of pandemic restrictions, our goal was to just incrementally by 10% or 15% go up to our student numbers. Post-pandemic, we didn't think we were in half. We were at a 2,000 level of student registration. Before we went into restrictions, we were at 4,000. It was huge, so we were really excited when in the 22-23 school year, we had over 4,000 students registered to Mesa again. That's you guys, your passion, your creativity, and your love for the work you do infused into that, and you see our student numbers. This last school year, we held strong and stayed at 4,189 students statewide registered with the program. Thank you, teachers. Thank you so much. You'll also find that our student retention numbers are pretty good. We'd like to see that number change. We'd love it to get bigger, but again, I don't know what the magic formula for that is, so I can't, I'm open to it. Eric, tell me what we need to do to help make that happen. But over 50% of our students come back to Mesa as an out-of-school time program, and that's wonderful. So thank you for helping us with that as well. And then we know you all are busy. These are just a few of the things you've done in the last year, and it's so impactful. You had at legislative field trip and Lionel Steam Day, we had over 475 participants come in. We had at Mesa Day and Mesa USA combined, we had over 1,000 student participants between those two events. And then we held 8 regional rallies, 16 regional advisory meetings, and 7 professional development opportunities in the last year. You all attended at least one of those. We had 100% participation from our Mesa advisors in at least one or more of these programs, so thank you again. You all are busy. And then finally, I wonder if I have to go click on that. You'll find we are part of a much bigger community than just Mesa, New Mexico. We are part of a 10-state initiative of Mesa states that have been in existence since 1970. We have some newer states. The oldest state is University of California's Mesa programs. And you will find up here, I don't know if it'll show. Yeah, you'll find it's on our LinkedIn and it's on our Instagram, and it'll be up on our Facebook as well. We have alumni impact stories, and it was really difficult for us to pick which alumni to represent our state in this first rollout. But you will see that there is a story highlighted from each state of an alumni member who participated in MESA and are now in a STEM career and what that looked like for them. So please visit the website. There's also going to be posters and cards that we're going to get for each of our teachers, our classrooms, so we'll have those to distribute as well that you can use to, in whatever manner you want, give them from your classroom, give them to the students. But for us, it was the idea of our state stories and our, that representation matters, that those individuals who went to school and attended MESA in New Mexico can show the way for the students to come. Our goals for this next year are to provide an array of STEM activities locally and statewide for our students. It is also to provide professional development that's flexible and easy for you all to use. And then to connect our high school students to paid internship opportunities around the state of New Mexico. We've been making a really concerted effort for that, and hopefully you will see more and more opportunities arise. Today, Anita's going to talk about, at some point, one of those programs that we're going to roll forward with. And then Mason USA is more than a competition. NEDC isn't the end-all be-all. We love when people participate in Mason USA, but Mason USA statewide and nationally is about community as well. And so we're hoping that you will engage with our Mason USA network more as we move forward. And then what does that all mean? Well, basically, this is my last slide, and my parting words to you all is that over the next 2 days, we hope that we can really help you foster your creativity, and that you are able to put your passion and creativity to use in the classroom. Mace is here to help support you. Thank you for all that you do for us.
So thank you, Ling. So with that, again, I just want to reiterate everything. We're very excited to have you guys with us here for these next couple of days. For some of you, you may have already been in school for a few weeks. You may have already been kicked off. Some of you may have just started, like a couple weeks ago, very fresh. Hoping that this is an opportunity to learn new things for your MESA time, for your classroom time. Just hoping just to get some ideas, and always, MESA is always here to be a support for you as our teachers, to better our MESA programs, to better our MESA schools, and in turn, bettering STEM education for the state of New Mexico. So the next section that we're going to go into, I'm going to talk a little bit about the different statewide events that we have set up for this next school year, statewide programming. I also want to do the general disclaimer. What we have here, there's a lot of programs. They may or not be all up in your wheelhouse, but we're going to go in and talk about some of the statewide events. Besides statewide events, there are also regional events that have been planned for you. You will likely review those tomorrow in your regional advisor meeting, like a regional plan for some additional things. And then you all, as individual advisors, get to customize your MESA program to what fits for you. So again, we're going to go over some of our main statewide initiatives. We are going to be talking briefly about some of the events. Also, the other disclaimer, if there are specific questions, specific things, that we'll address, you can always find me at a later time, trying to stick to our time frame during this session. I know there's always a lot of questions surrounding our competitions, and happy to answer them, but also giving some time to digest the handbooks that you may have just received, okay? I also want to note that our New Mexico MESA website, nmmesa.org, is the repository for all of our statewide events. It is currently uploaded with all of the events that I'm going to mention. For the most part, at least the current ones, like the MESA competitions, the MESA Buddies, Senior Incentive Field Trip, they already have a website up. So what I'm talking about is also up on the website. So as we go through our events, the other document that I want to reference is when you all checked in your handbook, there was a little added slip of paper that had statewide dates. And so it's a kind of, again, a summary. So again, if you're scribbling fiercely, a lot of the dates are already included in there, kind of as a summary page of things that I'm going to talk about. As we look to modify that date list, that will also get uploaded to our website. So you just kind of have a quick snapshot review at a glance of some of our major statewide events. Okay. Oops. Wrong clicking. So again, as resources, I mentioned our website. I also want to really, really highlight all of the New Mexico MESA staff. Earlier today, we had our new advisor training. If you have not had a chance to meet with your regional coordinator, because you are brand new, I suggest meeting them. Your regional coordinator is your first primary source of contact for things. And they can help be your facilitator, as well as myself and as well as Ling, just making ourselves available for questions, for different questions that you may have. I also want to make a note that we are on social media. Our most active site is our Instagram page, our Mesa on Insta. But we also do have a couple of other sites, Facebook, and we do have an account both on LinkedIn and on Twitter, just not as active. Instagram is truthfully, our most active page there. So as we're going into some of the things that are available year-round for teachers, and if you are a new advisor, you may have already heard some of this information, so double reinforcing it by saying it twice, is again some of the year-round things that we offer. So online, we do have a digital learning section, we have a lot of virtual resources, we have a lot of things for handouts. If you are a veteran teacher and maybe weren't aware of things, I suggest taking a perusal through our New Mexico Mesa website. We have a lot of things available for download. We have our New Mexico Mesa YouTube channel where we have recorded our previous STEM series. We have a lot of our tech trainings that we've done, anything that we have done has all been uploaded to our YouTube site. So if you want to rewatch maybe some of those training sessions, some past professional development that we've had, they are also up. We will be videoing our sessions, majority of our sessions during this professional development conference. With the exception of the minor mayhem sessions, because if you signed up for that program, you'll get lots of reimbursement for that, and our internal Mesa ones. Other than that, so if you happen to miss a session, you can always go back and kind of catch up if there's just some information collection that you wanna take a peruse. Those will be uploaded to our Mesa YouTube channel. Professional development. Besides our main statewide, throughout the year, statewide professional development pops up. Typically that is virtual because we are a large organization with people very far away, and so particularly we do have a couple of Mesa USA trainings a year, virtual professional development opportunities that will be available. One is here in a couple months, the Mesa USA Convening, that will be helping in preparation for the Mesa USA competition. In the summer, we also have a big annual convening of our Mesa USA teachers from across the country that is available to you. We also have an opportunity, one of our sessions that we'll be talking about is called the Underrepresentation Curriculum. There will be something coming out on that within the fall semester. So there will be opportunities throughout the year, tech trainings, things that are offered. As opportunities arise, we'll be bringing them to you. So if you want to learn about a program, jump on in on a new skill, come join us, we'd love to have you. And lastly, on the year-round support is our curriculum. Many of you already have the access to this. If you have the current password, you already have access. It has not changed. So on there, we have multiple curriculum sets. Some are older, but they're still valid. Some are from many years ago, but you can still pick and choose, use within your classroom as you like. We have different versions of Mesa curriculum that we have. Our Mesa USA national curriculum is listed there. We have different opportunities there, but those are all password protected. And I want to say that with a disclaimer, they are used for intention for Mesa use. So, if you use them, just kind of use them in good faith. If you are using them in your class, that is encouraged, right? But just be careful. The other disclaimer is titling something a Mesa class without getting permission from Mesa. So you just make sure to run that by your regional coordinator, just making sure that wherever our curriculum is out in the world and however it's being used, that your coordinator is aware, just to make sure we take our Mesa name and reputation very seriously, and we are very proud of the reputation that we have, and we just want to make sure that we're out there as expected. Okay. So now I'm going into some of these events. Again, as I'm mentioning them, they're a lot. By saying them, sometimes spots for these trips are small, sometimes they're large, sometimes it's just visit for you. So these are just the different state offerings that we have. An example of that is our AMP conference. This is our Alliance for Minority Participation Conference. This is a partnership that we have. They have partnered with the different universities of the state. It's a research conference. Over the years, our spots have gotten smaller and smaller. So this year it is primarily a Southwest region event. But if you are of interest, you have students enrolled, you know what this conference is, you want to bring like a Suburban down, get with me, and we'll look to get you involved on that date. Another big partnership that we have, and the details for all this just came out like the last couple of days, but they will be with us here at the conference. Once I find out more, we'll distribute it statewide. Minor Mayhem, this is a partnership that we have, the New Mexico Tech Mechanical Engineering Department. They will once again be working with all of our Mesa schools and teachers to provide year-round support, particularly in Arduino and their coding, with the eventual goal of participation in the Minor Mayhem, the BattleBot Challenge. So there's different levels of BattleBots. There's the Mesa Bot, which is geared specifically to our Mesa kids. A 150 gram bot, and there's a higher level coding bot, rover bot, only available to high school students. If that's something you're interested in, there are sessions that are occurring at this PD. If you miss one of those sessions, so that's okay. You can still sign up for the program once the information comes out on those. This program has, evolved with contracts and year-round commitments, but they will assign you, mentors to work with your students and help get you prepared for that spring event at Minor Mayhem. Okay. Another statewide initiative that we have is what we call our Big Give. So you guys all know Service Learning is a big component of New Mexico Mesa. So we have designated the month of December as our virtual Big Give month. So you are welcome to do your Service Learning opportunity whenever you would like. Multiple Service Learnings as many times as you would like. But even internally as staff, we travel around the state, and for our December meeting of sorts, we do our own statewide service learning in a different part of the state. And so this year we will be going to the North Central region participating in that. But during the month of December, we encourage you all to do something independently and then report your work to us as a whole collectively. It's pretty awesome to say that as a state, we performed 1,000 hours of community service in the month of December, or we reached out to 20 communities. It's really, it's pretty impressive when you see the impact and the reach that New Mexico Mesa has. I talked really about our convening, and when I made this slideshow, it was to be determined, but since then, I have put the date on the list as October, whatever date it is, but it's on your list. But the date, they just released the date this last week after I'd already made the slideshow. The other program I'm going to talk about, I am going to go into more detail tomorrow in session B, but is our Mesa Buddies program. I'm very excited. We have an invigoration of funding for this program for this year, meaning if you have heard about Mesa Buddies before, it's now multiplied and got super awesome. And we're able to put a lot more funding, meaning stipends increased for both teachers, students, transportation has increased, activities have increased, but the timeline has also condensed. So there's some summary here. The website is already up with all of the information. Mesa Buddies, what that is, it is a peer-to-peer mentoring program where a high school pairs with an elementary school to conduct a very specific mentoring leadership opportunity. So that website is fully up on our website, and I'll go into details on this program in tomorrow's session. Now getting into the spring, what maybe some of you are better to wait for is the launch of our competitions. Before I go into our handbooks and our competition, I want to talk about our two other major spring programs. One is our senior incentive field trip that will be occurring at the start of April. Just because of timing, we're not able to fully plan out this trip at this time because of flight schedules and things like that, but everything is laid out generally. What we are looking at this year, we will be going to Nashville, Tennessee, kind of like a shared Nashville, Huntsville, Alabama adventure. Doing some of the highlights to be included are, looking to incorporate some space camp activity, NASA facilities, also looking to incorporate Northrop Grumman. They have their headquarters out there, so we've already been talking and planning that. But that is an opportunity for your seniors to apply if you are a high school teacher. The applications will be available after September, because that is when I can officially book the trip with flight schedules being open. And they will be due at the start of January. So there's a large window for them to apply. And when that application comes open, there will be a more detailed agenda so they can actually decide if this trip is something for them. And then our statewide legislative field trip. So we will once again be having it. We are able to book our event starting in September, so we don't know what the date will be. It will be somewhere between January 16th and March 22nd, just whatever date they give us at the state and legislature. But we will be targeting early session, so late January, early February. Once we have that date, our legislative field trip, this is an opportunity for you all to take your students to Santa Fe to observe the legislature in action. We will have attendance this year from each of our regions. So with that being said, not every student, every school just gets to go just because we cannot afford that, particularly from our faraway regions or distant regions from Santa Fe. Western, Southwest, Southeast will be providing like a bus and lodging for that bus. So get with your coordinator if that's something that you really want to attend, just to make sure that you get onto that trip. Just we try to have representation from all of our regions, but just there are just some limitations and constraints just with distance. So now I'm going to jump on into our handbook. And so this year, if you have noticed, if you're a veteran, our events are combined into one competition day. So our handbooks is now a competition day handbook with 2 tracks. So our event will be occurring on April 30th. Our event has also been moved to Expo, New Mexico, so that's the state fairgrounds. So we have grown in size. We are recognizing, the request. This will allow for spreading out for space. This will also allow for parking of buses and parking of cars and some of the constraints that happen in downtown Albuquerque for moving convention center in. This will also allow for outside food to be brought in, as has been requested to us. So we will be at Expo, New Mexico with that, with constraints that we have this day. Again, 2 tracks. There's a lot of action happening on this day. There is an agenda in the handbook for you to peruse. So again, essentially to come to this event, Mesa Day is typically seen as our, I don't want to say easier, but one of our tracks of competitions, like our more open entry competition. So every single school is invited to bring at least 1 team to Mesa Day, with the exception that you have to participate in all of the events, including prepared design. So our prepared design this year is building a community center. So you will be having to do a model community center, so taking in architecture, engineering, construction, that sort of thing, building a model. That is our prepared design for this year. And so to come to the event, you have to at least have 1 full team of kids competing in all of the events. Now, if you have an opportunity, you have a bigger program, and you want to bring more than 1 team to the Mesa Day event, look through the handbook to figure out your numbers and how that all plays out. Essentially, to bring a second team, we're now tacking on the requirement that you also have to bring a Mesa USA team, track team. So really trying to encourage participation in our Mesa USA event. Also with the disclaimer that we are trying to, looking at our competitions, as this is our statewide event. This is our statewide academic event. And so trying to hold the caliber of this being a statewide competition. So if maybe this, if you want to come and just bring a Mesa Day team, you're not feeling Mesa USA, then great. Then bring your 1 Mesa Day team. You will likely carpool with other schools, but you do need to participate in all of your events. If you want to try to bring as much kids as possible, take on the added challenge, bring a Mesa Day team and a Mesa USA team. Try out the track. We're going to go into the different events, but those are the requirements there. If those requirements are still a little too stringent and you're still not in it, the requirement of Mesa is that you have to participate in at least 1 Mesa competition. So that's where your Mesa Rally may be the competition for you. And that is regionally, that is open invitation. You are able to participate in the fall regionally, and that is more workshop-based, more on-site, or open invitation. So think about the different options available and how that looks for you as a program, okay? So getting into some of the either changes and or, kind of requirements to attend. And you all have your handbook with you. I am not going to review this handbook in entirety just because we don't got time for that. You all can read and review as we can get back. But I do want to go ahead. So our themes for this year, a few years ago nationally and also locally, we made a commitment to align towards the United Nations Sustainability Goals. So our Mesa Day theme, our theme for our Mesa Day in our year is health and well-being in our communities, in alignment with goal 3 of those goals. If you're not familiar with those goals are used in both of these competitions. So I would make a suggestion at some point, just Google up the UN Sustainable Goals. Our Mesa USA event will address the topic of designing for equity locally to affect sustainability globally, able to target any specific goals out of those UN goals that you so choose. So those are the 2 themes for the 2 tracks. So again, I'm going to try to clear out. So again, if you imagine one big day coming in, so the students could theoretically be participating in 2 different track events, like our 2 main state competitions. We will be awarding awards in each individual track accordingly. We will be awarding prizes in each individual track accordingly. So the rules for Mesa Day and the rules for Mesa USA are entirely separate. It is just happening physically at the same day. And so the entry and the rules for the 2 different events are different, but they are happening at the same day, at the same time. Your performance in Mesa Day does not affect your score in Mesa USA or vice versa. So they are kept interdependently. The only linkage that they have is, again, physically being held the same day and just the requirement of participation, because we are maximizing buses, we are getting our kids involved, we are fishing for good STEM activity within our school year, okay? Other things to note, the team sizes are a little different for each one, so take note of those in our handbook. For Mesa Day, student teams can run 3 to 6 students. Mesa USA teams need to remain 2 to 4, because our Mesa USA event is a qualifier for our National Engineering Design Competition. So all of the events for our Mesa USA track are predetermined nationally. So if you imagine, we have 10 Mesa USA states. They're all competing in that same event. The winners at our state event will represent us nationally. So those rules all remain the same nationally. So Mesa Day is just a New Mexico Mesa event, okay? There is a little chart that tells you how many teams you're eligible for, assuming you want to bring that many teams. Just because you're eligible for 17 doesn't mean you may want to bring 7 teams. It's a lot of work to bring 7 teams. So just think about everything that's involved with coming to Mesa Day and where you want to go with that. There is also a note, one thing, because our Mesa USA track is a national event, that handbook is we've been working in committee over the summer to get it modified. We have the general synopsis of events, which I'm going to review here. But the handbook for Mesa USA, like the actual very specific parameters, the rubrics, those are being finalized as we speak, and they are expected to be released in the next week or so. Again, with all of our 10 Mesa USA states, New Mexico starts school pretty early. Most schools, just started or just start now in September, and they run all the way through June, a lot of our schools across the country. So we're a little ahead on the timeline. So once those rules get finalized, I will be adding them to the competition handbook, and I will upload a version 2. So this is version 1. Version 2 will include the Mesa USA components in detail once they become available, okay? So the other thing to note is like what we provide if you're preparing long-term. So for Mesa Day, everything that we provide, there's a little synopsis of information for it being at the state fairgrounds. And the other important thing to note for our competitions is our registration process is a little bit different this year. So with that, our competition is on April 30th. The registration deadline for both events is April 1st. So by April 1st, you need to have, Oh, yes. I was like, do I got an expert? By April 1st, yeah, I realize April Fool's Day. Not really a joke, really is April 1st. Let's get it at 6. I'll be like, you think you're funny, though. But April 1st, by that time, by this time, have your teams figured out. If you need to turn in any Mesa A0, make sure all your teams are straight, make sure registration is straight. Also by this time, if you haven't already, so coming to the event, Mesa Day track, you have to complete a prepared design. Mesa USA track has also some prepared components. New this year for inspections. In the past, we've had you do an inspection with your coordinator. New this year, when you register, at registration, whenever you register, you'll sign up for a time slot and you will be inspected by a committee. Trying to make it a little bit more streamlined across the state, make it more consistent that the individuals inspecting your devices, making sure you meet specs, will be consistent with what will happen at the state competition. We just want to avoid any, making sure that everything is done consistently across the state. So the only way to do that is to have the same people doing those inspections. And so with that being said, by the time you register, your prepared design should be good to go. Your Mesa USA advanced material should be good to go, as that is all part of the registration process. That is your ticket to entry. So if your prepared design isn't ready to go, if your early stuff isn't ready to go, unfortunately, you will not be allowed to participate in those competitions, as it's part prepared, part on site. Okay? So just take some time to look through those things. The next thing I want to review is the events that will be held on the Mesa Day track. So every team that comes to Mesa Day will have the prepared design component. So they will do their model community center in advance. They'll come, they will bring it to competition. So at competition, they will be scored. This event in particular, they will come bring the score because the scoring is a little bit differently than something that takes up a lot of time. There will be time specifically for each team to meet with the judges and share the model out, review specific things for the judges. But because the window is like a trunk, you notice me looking at the agenda with our theme, our students during this time frame will also be participating in a health and wellness fair. And there will also be a symposium to where all the students can go around and look at the other models, have an opportunity to interact with the other students, have an opportunity to interact with the other teams, and just check out all the other great work that we're doing versus just the models being put away. Put all this time, work, and effort into them. We want to share them out with our community and share why you selected what you chose and all the great things that are behind them. So half of your day will be done in that prepared design event. The other half of the day is being done in what we call on-site. So if you are a new teacher to Mesa, on-site means there is not necessarily preparation required. You come and you don't know the competition until you get there. So on the on-site events, there's one event, the Mesa Mayhem event, which you guys will get a sampling here in just a few minutes. But that is where all of your team participates together in one group on-site event. And then your team will split, almost like a medley relay. They'll split up, and there'll be two mini competitions. One is called Mesa Fit, tackling the idea of physical fitness and the things that are involved with that. And the other one is titled Visualize Your STEM Identity. So they'll have two tracks that participate. All the points accumulated during your Mesa Day track will go towards awarding an overall Mesa Day champion, okay, a Mesa track champion. So those are our Mesa Day events. It can go through the rubrics. Again, if there's individual questions, I can take them later on. Mesa USA. The main requirements for Mesa USA is that students have to create a prototype. The prototype must involve and relate to an issue in your community, must be tackling in some component one of the UN goals. There's 17 of them. They're very broad. They have a wide range of needs. And they must have a coding component, but not a very strict coding component necessarily. If you look at, once the rubrics come out, I want to give that big disclaimer that it is encouraged to get you into coding at whatever level that may be. Majority of the points for this event get allotted to the process, the why. You're designing for a person, you're designing for a user, you're designing for a client, utilizing coding. And I say coding very loosely. It could be an app, it could be a website, it could be a microprocessor, it could be a lot of different options. If the word coding just freaks you out a little bit, we actually even have a few sessions coming up talking about how to integrate coding into a project. If that may be something that is up for you, we have some coding sessions here. If that's just something that's maybe not in your wheelhouse, but that is the requirement for the prototype to Mesa USA. Now with that, they build a prototype. Students will then design an academic poster around it. They'll have a design brief around it, and they will participate in an interview. That's what we call our symposium. And they'll give a technical pitch on that. So again, different levels of skill that can happen, different levels of prototypes that can happen. We have lots of resources oriented towards Mesa USA. The training here in a couple months is geared entirely around prepping for Mesa USA. We have an entire curriculum designed around prepping for Mesa USA. So there are tools out there to help you prepare for this competition if it's something that you maybe never tried, but you want to engage in. It is a somewhat pseudo requirement if you want to bring a ton of teams to our Mesa Day event this year, okay? So with that being said, that is the general summary of our different statewide events that we have this year. There's a lot going on, there's a lot of time, there will be lots of time for communication later. Take some time to soak in all the information. Besides what we are offering statewide, this next 2 days you'll be getting lots of information within your workshops, of possible other different programs you can choose to pick your own adventure. You guys remember those Choose Your Own Adventure books? If you're old like me, you can choose your own adventure within Mesa. There is, this afternoon in particular, we have our partner workshop session and our partner open house. There's lots of programs that love working with our Mesa teachers, so you can come out and see how best you want to build your Mesa time and build up your Mesa program. What I've talked about today are kind of cornerstone statewide events, but there is lots of opportunity for participation, okay? So with that being said, after you've been tapped out and eaten, and have eaten, wake you guys up a little bit and give you guys, I thought I was done with my slides. Just where to find, again, where you registered. Every time for statewide events, I mentioned our website, how you registered, like for the event today. On our endofmesa.org, you go up to events, you scroll down, future events, past events, everything for every statewide event will be on a website. So just kind of keep note of the deadlines that you have, kind of keep note of the websites that we have. Oh, and I'm not going to jump ahead. But I am going to introduce our Mesa Mayhem team for this year is our Central Inner Region Coordinator, Dr. Kim Shearer, and our West Region Coordinator, Ms. Shandina Smith. They're going to lead you in a sampling of what you can maybe hope to, your students can expect at Mesa Mayhem. This was an event we started a few years ago. It's kind of like organized chaos, but it's wonderful and it really helps to engage the teamwork and leadership component of our Mesa Day. And so we're going to get you all engaged and awake and moving a little bit.